Our next story is about a theft. Unfortunately, thefts aren't all that uncommon. But in this case, the thieves struck 60 feet underwater. The items stolen were fragments from an American legend. And there is a reward for anyone who can put the pieces of this puzzle back together. During the late 1800s, sailing ships crisscrossed the waters of Lake Michigan. The Wells Burt was one such ship.
What's so unique about the Wells Burt is it's a time capsule of history that's available to the diving public so that they can go down and visit the wreck and experience history firsthand.
Although the Wells Burt sailed upon a lake, its crew was always on the lookout for sudden storms that could strike without warning. On the night of May 20th, 1883, a cruel storm blew in. This storm sank the Wells Burt, along with 10 crew members. She lay at the bottom of Lake Michigan for 100 years.
In 1988, 3 professional divers from the Chicago area were out looking for the Wells Burt, and they saw something on their bottom finder that looked like a ship, and they went down and looked at the wreck, and they were absolutely surprised because this was a totally intact 3-masted schooner laying in only 40 feet of water.
What struck them immediately was the pristine condition of the shipwreck, with all the fittings in place, the dead eyes, the deck fittings, even personal effects that were still with the ship. No one had touched them, no one had moved them for over 100 years. Often when you study history, you tend to dwell on things that belong to rich and powerful people and not on the common man, the lives of the common people. And with the Wells Burt, that's what we have, is just a regular old freighter used by everyday people like you and I.
But in May of 1991, divers discovered that the wreck had been plundered. Pieces of the ship had been ripped off the hull. A tomb that held 10 men had been violated.
I can only imagine that this act of vandalism would have been done by a couple of divers, perhaps who wanted a souvenir and knew they could find them on the Wells Burt.
This theft must have taken place between October 1990 and May of 1991, and police theorized that at least 3 divers were involved. Ironically, these vandals may have located the wreck with the unwitting help of preservationists, for they had a marker buoy in place that designated the location of the wreck for research purposes.
It would have been a simple job to throw down the anchor, secure their vessel, and knowing full well that their intention was to remove these artifacts, they would have taken maybe a pipe wrench, maybe a couple saws, and gone down and known exactly where on the wreck that they had intended to take these artifacts, most of them being dead eyes that were secured to the ship.
This was deliberate and planned. Someone had to go out with tools to retrieve some of these items from the ship. Some of them were wrenched, physically wrenched off the wreckage. And to add insult to injury, they even smashed the sign that the state of Illinois put up on the boat to inform responsible divers what this was and to guide them as they swam around the ship. If you vandalize a boat like the Wells Burt, it would be the same as ripping a page out of a textbook. You can still get information from it, but it won't be the complete story.
Among the items stolen were 10 dead eyes, the blocks used in rigging the sails, and various other artifacts such as levers, drift pins, eye screws, and metal machinery.
Whoever was responsible for taking these artifacts off the ship is doing an injustice to all the people of the state of Illinois, as well as the divers that are going to come and visit this wreck for generations to come.
The Wells Burt belongs to everyone living in Illinois, and there is a $2,000 reward to anyone who returns its missing pieces.